Hey everybody, we're heading back to Indonesia. Let's do this. Now I know you're saying Indonesia again so quick. Well, this happens to be a T2 PJ. I have already had the honor of doing a T2 SP, which this was the canned version, and this one is the dehydrated version or the freeze-dried version. So far, except for in Indonesia, I've only seen one of these done, and that was by Bushmaster, and it's probably a year or two old. I watched Steve. He did one of these. He did a T2P one, which is very reminiscent of what you used to get in a Japanese Defense Force ration. But let's check this one out. Now, my buddy Stanley, he was cool enough to hook me up with one of these. I purchased several from him, and they had seen better days by the time that I got him. And he is a stand-up guy, and he sent me this one. Still got a little bit of beat up, but it was in much better condition than the other ones that I got. It doesn't affect the contents or quality of the food, but when you want to review something, you want it to be as in best presentation condition that you can for you guys. Well, let's bust into this thing. Of course, you can see this is menu number 4. And right off the bat, we have some enter soup or some seafood. And the neat thing I like about this type of package is, yes, it stands up on its own, but it has a clear window on the back so you can tell where your fill line is supposed to be. That is very smart. Now this nasi kari ayam, this is rice with chicken in curry seasonings. And that should be pretty tasty. And this is rice and beef soup. See all of the seasonings in there. I'm sure that is going to taste awesome. Have some more inner tabs. I haven't got the chocolate ones yet, but these are the vanilla inner tabs. Stove kit. Here's our accessory and drinks packet. We'll take a look at that in a second. And our last main. Now the nasi bali ikan. This is rice with Balinese style cooked fish. I'm sure that's going to taste really well too. And that is everything out of the box. Let's take a look at this stuff. Start off with the accessory packet. Vitriol drink, vitamin drink. The Minkle, this stuff is really good. It's like a milk kind of cereal drink. It kind of tastes like Captain Crunch Berries. Very delicious. The Mincens, this is a coffee type drink. We have 2 of those. And then we have, this has paper towels, it has your spoon, and of course it has your dental stimulators or your toothpicks. That is awesome. You get a spoon and a fork with this one. How cool. I guess that's because we have soup actually in this. And then again, napkins. Let's take a look at the stove kit. You have 4 fuel tabs or paraffins or whatever you want to call them. Box of matches. Then your stove. It's kind of modeled off of like the German Esbit stove or French Esbit stove. Little directions on how to fold the stove and use it. Now I can hear you all out there going, Gundog, I know we've got these pouches, but what is another way that we could use to rehydrate all these freeze-dried rations? Well, doing my research and also Stanley, man, his willingness to hook me up, I got an original official TNI mess kit. So we will use this while we're preparing this awesome meal. And just to show you how incredibly awesomely versatile this thing is, of course, it comes with a cooking pot with a nice handle so you can hang it, little fry pan, and both of these are detachable. They just simply clip right on. And there you go. And it all comes in this really cool carrying pouch. And it holds your handles right there. Awesome design. Awesome design indeed. And if there's anybody out there in the Philippines, if you can get your hands on one of those square Philippine Army mess kits, hit me up. Send me a link down there. I want to hook a buddy up with something like that. And since I'm not Indonesian or have never served in the TNI, I have no idea what to eat for breakfast. So let's do this one for our breakfast. And right before we get ready to dump that water in, let's assemble our spork and our spoon. Very ingenious design. Just goes together like that. I'm quite sure the soldiers in the field probably bring their own type of cutlery with them, a spoon or the like. Because one thing that I can definitely foresee happening is these are rather short in nature, and I would imagine that you would have a problem getting this to the bottom. But I'm quite sure the soldiers and Marines that use this on a regular basis are quite industrious and have a technique for getting to the bottom of their ration containers. And by looking at this packaging, it does not tell you how much water to use. You simply use the fill line guide, and it says let's stand for 15 minutes. So let's do that. It's nice that it has a zip seal. We'll take out the packaging and dump it right back inside. And we have some awesome, like probably palm oil. You can see the chicken bits in there. Boy, that is going to be quite nice. Just smelling the spices coming off of this thing, that is going to be really good. Kind of is reminiscent a little of adobo. And we'll just grab our kettle and keep on pouring until we hit that fill line. Let's seal this thing up. Okay, consulting my notes from Stanley, it does say add. It's kind of better if you do add this stuff right now. So let's plop in oil, palm oil in the seasoning. And we'll kind of stir that in there. And while that's reconstituting, we'll make our minkle. It's probably actually could be used kind of for a dessert. It's got that kind of a sweetness, but it almost seems fitting and suiting for breakfast. And here's Sherman in the background making a nest. And this calls for 200 ml of water. Jeez, buddy, you all set? No, sir. He's still going. And we'll give this a stir. Now, at first glance, it does kind of look like the same consistency of like a dairy shake. But it's got those nice little crunchy little, like crunch berry bits on the top, which are very delicious. And I know you all are saying, wait a minute, I thought you were going to use a mess kit. Well, I am for the other rations, but I had to try it right out of the package, at least for just one of these. And just if you're curious, this package, it started out weighing 180 grams. And when you add all that water, boom, we're up to 582 grams, which means we added 402 grams of water, which is a pretty significant amount, just shy of a pound. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. We can see this is really thickened up, which is very nice, to use sticky fingers term. It is a little soupy, of course. If you wanted to, you could always drain this. So we will use part of our mess kit. And we'll pour some of this in here, because I just want to do a semi-experiment. Part of the issue that I was having with this spoon, besides it collapsing on me, is trying to just eat this to the bottom. And I'm sure what a lot of people in the field do is just cut it to size to make it so much easier to eat. Let me grab my mint gall, stick it right there, and let's give this a try. This has such a fragrant smell. Now, there wasn't like a giant list of ingredients on this, but it looks like there's a little bit of carrot, and of course you can see the chicken is kind of hot, so maybe I should have put my little pot holder things on here. But you can see the sauce on there. It's nice and good. Just mix that real quick, and we'll give that a try. It's nice and smooth. It does have a really great flavor. It's probably a little more soupy than I probably would have wanted it, but it does have that extremely reminiscent taste of adobo, and this carrot actually comes through, that little bit of sweetness. This stuff is pretty tasty, and like I said, if you were out in the sticks, eating it right out of the bag, this looks like an easy way of doing it. And this being so hot, it is kind of nice to have a room temperature glass of Minkle to help cool your mouth down. It's got all those nice little crunchy bits in there. Really, really tasty. It's more milky than sweet, so it's not, it kind of looks like a dairy shake, but it's not anywhere like as sweet as one would be. Just tastes like a nice glass of milk with like Captain Crunch little floaties on the top. This was breakfast. Now, sometime during the morning after we had that great big huge breakfast, we would bust into our inner tabs. So whenever you had that hankering for some extra energy throughout the day, or you were a little hungry, you could have one of these. And also, this would be a great time to have your Viteral drink, which this is a mineral and vitamin drink, which would help replenish all of those things that you need throughout the day. And this does call for 200 cc or 200 mil of water. Oops. Woo! Check that out. That's some kind of skill. It started pouring out, and I still made it into the glass. Wow. Impressive. And I was just getting ready to say how nice and easy that these bags opened compared to a lot of other ration type bags. And then we'll look at these. I've tried several times to try to like bust them through this. And what it does, it ends up crumbling the actual inner tab. So we will just slice into here. And pull that out. Again, these are essentially like a milk block. Pretty much that is what it is. A solid, milky type drink. And these have just the slightest little bit hint of like vanilla flavor, but they are really bland and they really do coat the insides of your mouth, which would be awesome to have your Viteral or vitamin drink. And these are very fragrant, very floral, very fruity. Taste is really nice and pleasant. I like it. Good stuff. Kind of like a mango or like a papaya kind of taste. Let's get some lunch ready.